everybody, and welcome to a special episode in the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs Dynasty. We are going on the road to Texas A+M, where we have a heck of a game on our hands. They are currently undefeated, sitting at 9-0 with their overall record. They have A's across the board, A+ offense, A- defense. So naturally, Kirk Streak is actually going to try to ride with them. But the Mud Dogs are going to come ready to play as well. We may not look as good on paper, but we are still undefeated in this game at 9-0, so we're definitely going to give them our best shot. And here we are at Kyle Field, home of the Texas A+M Aggies, and it's going to be one heck of a matchup that we have in store here today. Before we get into the game, we are going to kick off with this coin toss, and we actually get the heads, so we're going to give them the ball first. Alright, so we actually force a free and out here to start this game. So Texas A+M is going to be punting to us here shortly. And it's a pretty decent punt to Mike Bullock. But it looks like we're going to have some nice field position to work with as Mike Bullock makes a couple of nice cuts. And we are at just about the 40-yard line to start our first drive. So here we are, very first play of the game. It's going to be a play-action pass. Stan Castillo is trying to find time. He is nearly hit. However, he finds a streaking Tim Smith up the middle for 24 yards. Very next play, we are going to go with the read option to show the speed of Stan Castillo, and he finds a nice amount of room even with the speedy defense. 12 yards for another first down in a row. Mud Dogs are off to a fast start, but can they finish off the drive now that we are safely in Texas A+M territory? And it's going to be a run for Stan Castillo, and it's only going to go for 5 yards, but very smart not forcing the pass upfield. Don't want to force any mistakes, and we're going to go with another throw to Ryan Wilson, who takes a absolute shot but hangs on to it for a first and goal. Very next play, Stan Castillo is going to drop back. He's going to throw a dart to Nate Colvin, and just like that, the Mud Dogs are going to take a 7-0 lead midway in the first quarter for your Mud Dogs. Next possession, quarterback Brandon Colvin, I believe, is going to drop back the pass and gain a few yards on the play. Going to be interesting to see if we can hold him to a second consecutive free and out. However, it looks like that is not going to be the case, as Corey Silva is able to get across the left side, get out of bounds, and get the first down. Texas A+M is starting to show signs of life, realizing that they cannot take this Mud Dogs team for granted. We are 7-0 for a reason, and they are starting to pick up the intensity on the offensive side. As Braylon Coleman is his last name, I just realized that. He's able to get the first down with the legs. However, next play, he runs right into Nicholas Beverly, who tackles him for a loss of 7 yards, making it a extremely long second down. And what an impressive play. He just shoves down the right tackle and makes it a long 2nd and 17. However, they do get the yardage back and makes it a slightly more manageable, but still very long 3rd and 10. And the Mud Dogs are able to finish it off, as Texas A+M is going to have to punt it for the second consecutive time. So now the Mud Dogs are in a prime spot to make this a 2-possession game early on. Going to kick things off with Casey Bugg. He's going to run up the gut for 6 yards, making it 2nd and 4 for your South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs. And very early on, they are playing very smart, not playing outside of their own game, as Ryan Wilson makes the catch. Ryan Wilson's had a hard time making some of these catches early on in the season, but you see the development as of right now. He has caught both the passes that have been thrown to him so far, and it's showing as our team is pretty much able to move as much as we want to, as we have a 3rd and 5 here, but Tim Smith is able to hang on for a 14-yard catch. But we have one more play left in the first quarter, and it's unfortunately dropped by Brad Muse. So that's going to be the very end of the first quarter, and we have a 7-0 lead, putting this Texas A+M crowd and the rest of the country on notice. Not a lot of people certainly did not pick us to win this game, but we are showing them why we should be a force to be reckoned with. Very first play in the second quarter, though, and Casey Bugg is going to find a nice lane up the gut for a gain of 13 yards. Mud Dogs are able to move the chains for their first down. Speaking of first downs, a throw up the center, and it's dropped. Ryan Wilson, I believe, was there to try to make the catch, but unfortunately he drops it. A potential touchdown pass but it doesn't stop the Mud Dogs too much as Casey Bugs able to get another carry up the gut for 8 yards, forcing a smaller 3rd and 2 for your South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs, and they're able to eventually convert the first down with Carl Wright actually taking the pitch from Stan Castillo to try to get a few more yards. A couple of plays later, Mud Dogs are now facing a 2nd and 12, and Carl Wright is actually going to take the carry up the middle for a gain of 9 yards on the play, making some nice cuts upfield, making it a short 3rd and 2, which I sure hope we might be able to finish off right here, and Casey Bugs is going to go down. However, it looks like he is down on the play, so we'll have to see if he comes back later on in the game or if he's out for the rest of the game. However, for now, we should be fine with Carl Wright taking another carry up the gut, getting the touchdown, and it is 14-0 Mud Dogs. So I just got word from the Mud Dogs training staff that it's just a bruised abdomen, so he'll be back later on in the game. He's just sitting out for precautionary reasons. For now, though, Texas A&M is starting to get going with Bray and Coleman. They are ranked number 2 in the country for a reason, and so they are certainly getting it going now on their 3rd possession, now that they are down by multiple possessions now with this 14-0 deficit. 1st and 10 for Texas A&M, though. Braden Coleman is going to drop back the pass, and it's going to be a short throw to Corey Silva for a gain of 6 yards. Is able to avoid the pressure and gain a little bit positive yardage out of it. However, on the next play, it's an even bigger gain as Braden Coleman is able to escape the pocket and is able to get the first down all by himself. Now the running back goes into motion for the Aggies of Texas A&M, and it's going to open up this slant route for Darrell Love, who gains 20 yards, and the Texas A&M no huddle is in full effect, barely giving any time for the defense to set before they move into their next play, and is able to nearly drive themselves into the end zone for a touchdown. However, the Mud Dogs do show resistance, but on 3rd and goal finally, Terry DeAngelis is able to get the easy slant route, and it is cut to a 1-possession game. Brand new possession for the Mud Dogs. The first 2 possessions have been touchdowns, but let's see what happens with the 3rd one. Stan Castillo this time around is going to gain 8 yards off the scramble. Nice job on the read option. And then this time we're actually going to do a different read, this time going straight up the middle, and it opens up the field for Stan Castillo. He gets one of his bigger runs of the day, 10 yards gained on the play. Now the Mud Dogs are starting to establish their run game. They know the offense is starting to warm up, and therefore they're going to try to keep the ball away from Texas A&M as much as possible. Definitely reminiscent from the very first time that they had the ball, and it's overthrown. However, Nate Colvin was open wide right up the middle. Unfortunately, Stan Castillo put a little too much juice on it. However, it's still 3rd and 1, so there's plenty of opportunities to get the first down, and we're going to do just that before we move into our own no huddle. We can do that kind of thing as well. However, on this very next play, Stan Castillo telegraphs the throw, and it is picked off by the strong safety, and Watson. Watson is able to read the eyes of Stan Castillo, and it is just a freshman mistake, which sets up Texas A&M for an opportunity to tie this game going into half. Alright, so 2nd and 4 for the Texas A&M Aggies, and this time Coleman just has a nice lane to work with. He goes right into a couple of our defenders. I'm surprised he didn't try to cut outside, but it's still a gain of 9 yards, and it sets up an even bigger game up the left side, and although thankfully it looks like it was called an incomplete pass. Was extremely lucky because he had a lot of space to work with as well. However, Texas A&M does get the first down the next play. So here we are on the, looks like the 35-yard line, and it's going to be a screen pass. However, no one's home, but the tackle gets in the way. Looks like his help doesn't throw it just high enough, and thankfully it's counted as an incomplete pass because the running back had some space to work with as Corey Silva gains 7 yards on the catch. So here we go, small 3rd and 3, less than a minute left in the game. Pressure is coming from the Mud Dogs, who's able to get it off and get it to Morris Pennington for the first down before they move into the no huddle, which leads to a nice throw up the middle, but it is poked away by James Joyce. touchdown saving deflection, and it will still be 14-7 for now. However, a couple of plays later, another throw up the middle, and Robbie Moore is able to get 2 feet down in the end zone, and it's going to be a tie ball game with 30 seconds left. However, Stan Castillo is going to try to lead the team downfield before the end of this happens. Going to start with an 11-yard reception for Carl Wright before we move into the no huddle. And then Nate Colvin nearly makes the catch, but it's going to simply fall incomplete. Makes it a 3rd and 11 now for the Mud Dogs before getting a tight throw. Look at that. Darren Joyce in between 2 defenders makes the grab, and the drive keeps going, although it's nearly picked off once again. Man, what a throw by Stan Castillo. Definitely not showing any fear in the eyes. He is just trying to lead his team in victory. With 12 seconds left in the first half, he's going to try to get him one more first down, and it's going to be a throw to Allen Holland, and we're going to get the field goal, but we're going to go into halftime up 17-14, and we get the ball to start the second half. So we have the ball and the lead to start the second half. Can we close this game out? This is one of the biggest games that we ever had in our school history. Last time we played a ranked opponent in, I believe, Western Kentucky in year 1. We ended up losing it in the second half. However, this is a different South Central Louisiana State team, so hopefully this leads to a different result this time around. 1st and 10 though for the Mud Dogs, and it's going to be, looks like a throw to up the middle, and it's Darren Joyce. Darren Joyce is wide open, gaining a massive gain, and the Mud Dogs are now in the red zone, as Stan Castillo is going to lead the team down this field, and we are poised to make this a 2-possession game once again. Very next play, Stan Castillo is going to drop back the pass. He's going to get it to Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson gets the 9-yard touchdown, and it is now a 10-point game. But the Texas A+M Aggies are not going to give up by any stretch of the imagination as they get the ball at the 40-yard line. It was an amazing kick return, which unfortunately that part got corrupted, so that's my bad, y'all. However, our defense is holding up pretty okay, even though they have the tough field position. They're still getting downfield. We're slowing this team down just a little bit, at least making it more difficult for them to get points on the board quickly, as it's just small gains of 5, 6, 7 yards. But here's a big gain right up the middle. It is wide open like the Red Sea in the Bible, as it is a fresh 1st and 10 in the red zone, and it leads to multiple broken tackles, and the running back is going to able to get into the end zone with ease. It is only a 24-21 game. So it's becoming pretty clear that we need to get points on the board. However, we are held to a 3 and out, so now Texas A&M for the first time today has a chance to take the lead in their own home stadium. Certainly something that we don't want. However, Brayan Coleman gets sacked for a loss of 5 yards as Nicholas Beverly gets his 2nd sack of the day. 3rd and 15 now for Texas A&M, and he's sacked once again. Looks like Jason Washington is able to get into the backfield, and they are going to have to punt it away, and we're still going to hold on to the lead. Man, what a game that is unfolding right before our eyes. This has the makings of an ESPN classic, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this game goes down. Stan Castillo now has to drop back. He's going to scramble. He's going to try to get out of bounds, but he's going to get hit. Definitely needs to learn how to slide going forward. Can't be taking these hits forever. That's going to add up as a collegiate quarterback. And it started to show right there is usually routine pass. Stan Castillo misses. Definitely very uncharacteristic of him. But he does make the next pass, which leads to a 1st down for Darren Joyce, gaining 11 yards on the play. A couple of plays later, Mud Dogs face a 2nd and 11, and Casey Bugg gets some space up the left-hand side for a gain of 14 yards. And that's actually the last meaningful play of the 3rd quarter, as going into the final quarter of play, your Mud Dogs are going to be up 24-21 with only 7 minutes left to play. So here we go, very first play of the 4th quarter, and Stan Castillo doesn't even have any time to process the defense, and he is sacked for a loss of 7 yards. And it leads to a long 3rd and 16, and it is picked off. Definitely a very rough way to start the 4th quarter, and as it is returned into South Central Louisiana State territory. Defense needs to step up if they want to hold on to this ball game. Alright, so Here we are at 4th and 3. We hold him to the initial 3 and out, but on 4th and 3 here, Braden Coleman is able to get outside the pocket. And he's brought down, but not until after he gets 30 yards, gains 30 yards on the play. And our team is starting to fall apart just a little bit. It's now 3rd and 3 for Texas A&M as Braden Coleman actually gets shook. So it looks like, no, we're not falling apart just yet. This is still anybody's ball game as Texas A&M had to settle for a field goal. Well, it was tough to see us throw the interception, but it was a big win for our defense because Texas A&M had some great field position as we only have 4 minutes left and it's still anybody's ball game. It's definitely not much more than you could ask for as Casey Buck hits the step back cheese, gains 15 yards and jukes a couple of defenders out of the shoes. But 1st and 10 though, Stan Castillo is going to drop back the pass, get it to Darren Joyce for a gain of 11 yards. Mud Dog offense is starting to roll once again. Just got to continue to put points on the board. And hopefully we can get one critical stop. But what an amazing catch. But it wasn't for one of our players. As Casey Buck is the only person there, but he can't catch him. No one's going to catch him, and Fred Haynes is going to get into the end zone. And Texas A&M is going to take the lead. Wow. 3rd interception on the day for Stan Castillo, and this time it is deadly. Texas A&M now has a 1-possession lead, and it just leads up to this possession. If we don't score on this drive, this game is essentially over. However, Casey Buck has something to say about it as Casey Buck gains 10 easy yards from the end zone as he wants to win this game. He wants to win this huge game for this football team, for this program, for the Mud Dogs fan base, and most importantly, those that watch the Waterboy movie. However, it's going to come down to one more play as it comes down to this 4th and 6. All we need is to get 6 more yards, but it's not going to be enough. We are going to be stopped just short of the 1st down, and that's going to end the game for us. Texas A&M is going to walk away 31-24, and it is definitely hard to take this loss as we had our opportunities to win this game, but we just simply let it go in the 2nd half. Definitely hurts to take this sort of loss, our first loss of the season. And Stan Castillo had a tough 2nd half as he threw 3 interceptions on the day, but other than that, like his first half was really good, but it does end up with a 20 for 31 day, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with the pass. Even took a few sacks, which is not normal of him because he is a scrambling quarterback. And that affected his rushing totals because he only had 52 yards rushing off of 13 carries. But Casey Buck, though, did carry us on the ground, leading the team with 83 rushing yards off of only 13 carries. So he was extremely efficient with the rushes that he did receive. Granted, we had to pass a little bit more than what we are usually comfortable with nonetheless. Carl Wright, though, did really good. And then Darren Joyce also had an amazing game in his own right. He led the team today in 6 catches, twice as many as any other receiver on the team. And it also showed in his receiving yards that he had over 100 receiving yards on the day. Ryan Wilson and it looks like Nate Colvin are going to be your 2 receivers that catch a touchdown pass from starting quarterback Stan Castillo today. And then finally, going over a team or a defensive unit that actually played pretty well today. They may have allowed 31 points, but they held Texas A&M below their season average of 41 points a game. Bobby Boucher did lead the day with 8 tackles, including 2 of those with tackles for a loss. Although James Joyce, our safety, did a really good job as well getting after the quarterback. We had plenty of plays where we tackled the opposing player behind the line of scrimmage, and we had 3 sacks today with Nate Beverly having 2 of those, having a really solid day. And then Doug Carrington, the true freshman out of Delray Beach, Florida, had the other sack for his team. Alright, so it was a difficult loss for us to take here today, but we are going to go back on the road to play against number 22, Miami. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this video. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment for your boy about your South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs. And if you really enjoy my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button as I plan on dropping much more sports gaming content in the near future. Until then, I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.